So recently, I remembered a project I worked on around 3 years ago, probably closer to 2 years, but all it was is basically throwable TNT. So you right click and it launches the TNT in a certain direction, which then explodes after a few seconds. And it works just as well as a normal TNT. This is basically just a quicker TNT cannon, if you really think about it. But recently, while I was thinking about that project, I started thinking about making end crystals throwable in the same way. And so that's what I made today, or I guess in the past week. And so today I want to go through sort of how I made it work, since it is actually quite different from the TNT, where the TNT has like full physics and gravity and is basically meant to be launched. The end crystal is usually static. It doesn't have any way of moving. It has no gravity, so it's very difficult to achieve the same effect. And of course, that was a big explosion. So anyways, I'm just going to go through how everything works. Because of the fact that end crystals don't have a movement system, my idea was to instead take a projectile like a snowball and basically make it spawn the end crystal and then link it to that object. So my original idea was to teleport the end crystal to the snowball, like every tick. But when you do this, you notice that it's very shaky, very jittery, and that's because it's only going 20 times a second. So every teleport you're seeing is it moving back to the snowball after being static for a second. And the client doesn't do anything to smooth it out like it would with a snowball or an arrow. And you can actually see, if I throw it, and then step, you can see it just snaps. So the second method I tried was to actually basically make the end crystal ride the snowball. So basically the snowball has an add passenger method that you can use. And so it's just telling, basically it would be like if the player starts riding a pig, it would be the same thing where they follow the pig's movement. So if I throw it now, then you get this really smooth effect. Well, mostly. It's a bit messed up. So that works pretty well though. The only issue now is we don't have any way of making the end crystal explode when it touches the ground. So, and also removing from the list that it gets put into to track everything. We can get collision working because the snowball already has collision and will actually destroy itself when it hits something. So we can detect that using a projectile hit event. So I can throw this, and you can see now it will explode. So when it touches the ground, it's actually telling the crystal to it's damaging the crystal, running a command. So, and this also works for entities, so if I hit the sheep, then that will explode too. And it works really well. This is now a fully working projectile. It's a bit destructive, so it may need a cooldown. In fact, it definitely will. So the final thing I want to mention is that crystals have sort of a beam, and in the end, they will point at the Ender Dragon when the dragon is close enough to them. And we can actually set the direction the beam is facing, or the location it's pointing at. So I've run through the list and made each crystal point to the one after it. That's thrown afterwards. So, and you get this really cool line art effect that I kinda love. That just works really, really well. But anyways, that's all for me. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll probably put some extra things that I didn't mention in the comment section. So thanks for watching. Bye.